Welcome to my Workrooms personal space. This is an area where I can get my work done. If I go over here, I can select on my computer, and with my computer selected, I can get my work done through here. I can check out the meeting room, I can increase the screen size, and so much more. It's very great for productivity. You've got this nice low humming sound. It's just kind of this interesting atmosphere. I really want to build on those cubes, but that's because I come from Horizon where it's like we can build anywhere, but this atmosphere is really about work, and I think it does a great job of that. And so as you can see, you can resume, decrease screen size, disconnect from the computer. I can reconnect to the computer. We can go to the home page, and from our home page, so you can see I'm using my actual hands, we have 4 different rooms in here. So we got Up Too Late with Up Too Late, so that's her room. We have the Vidyuu private meetings room, the Vidyuu play space, Vidyuu's professional space. And so we've created several different rooms. And it's important to note that when you create your account, there's 2 options. You can either create a business account, which allows you to create rooms like this, or you can join a business account. And so like Vidyuu has a group and a bunch of people have joined, and they aren't able to create rooms, but as the creator, I can create all the rooms. And so we've got one for play, one for professional, and one for private meetings. And if we go to today, you can see if there's any meetings coming up. You can schedule meetings from your computer. You can also schedule meetings from here, I believe, but at the very least you can do it by pulling up your computer and doing it that way. And so now let's go ahead on over into this, let's go ahead to the Vidyuu play space room. Sweet. So we've arrived here at the Vidyuu play space, which is a little embarrassing, but as you can see, people have been having fun with cats on the whiteboard, and we've got this kind of set up here. And the big thing that you're going to note is there are multiple desk layouts. And so this is the standard layout. And if we go to the seating layout here, we can change it to conversation style. So let's go ahead and click change. This changes it for everyone, not just for you. So now everybody is in this style, so you can actually like look at people and really engage with them. We've also got our screen coming in from the web, so if people don't have a Quest 2, they can join on the internet. It's definitely not as full featured as something like Zoom, but the features inside of here are way better. So if you have to have someone come and join, that's one way to do it, but I do obviously recommend they come in as users of the Quest 2. And then we also have presentation mode. This is great if you want to have someone presenting a document, and you can have up to 2 rows. There's only 1 row here, but the seats expand, so as more people come in, it expands. You can have up to 16 people at a time. You can have up to 50 people in a session if you include the monitors over there now. And if you're on the monitor, you have the ability to switch between viewing the people here in the audience and viewing the presentation, so you can switch over to there. I believe it is cut off because it's a 16:9 screen, so you're not going to get the right and left edges, so that's definitely something to be aware of. You can have 16 avatars in here. Now you might have noticed my computer is right here, and this is my actual computer. When you see that black hovering over, that's my hands kind of coming through as pass-through. It's really cool in here to be able to see my hands. It's kind of creepy on the video, but it is pretty cool to actually be able to see my hands hitting the keys and whatnot. So now what I wanted to point out though is if we close our laptop, it's going to remove that. So now I've got my flat surface here, and if I come over and select desk whiteboard, we can now see the whiteboard. And if we want to engage with this whiteboard, grab our controller. And so it's important to note when you have your controller like this, so this here, this tip is the tip of the pen. And so when I put it down here, you see it turns into a pen. And so the way to hold it is not like this, like it shows my hand, but you hold it like it shows my hand there. So that's how I'm holding it right now. Now you don't need to hit any buttons. Yes, let's go, and having a little trouble because with my laptop being here. But there we go. Okay, so we draw a circle, and now it knows that my desk is a little bit higher, so you can see this little drawing pad is a little up. And now with that out of the way, let's go in and create a new whiteboard. So we're going to click this 3-bar icon, then create a new whiteboard, create. Okay, so now we've got a clean whiteboard. We can select a pen tool. Yeah, this works much better on a flat surface. Don't draw on a laptop. Let's let's pull the laptop out of the way. Okay, so I've moved the laptop out of the way, and now we can draw pretty cleanly. There we go. We also have the eraser tool, and so once we have the eraser selected, it erases in batches. So it's drawing lines, and so it erases the lines. It doesn't just like erase a little bit. We can go back to the pen. It is strange we only have 4 colors, but I guess that's more than enough for just marking. Now under images, we can bring in, this is a picture of my cats here, and aren't they fun? You can also resize the image. And one other cool thing is it's appearing up here on the board. And so I can use my laser pointer by holding my trigger down to laser point and be like, yes, this is Pippi and this is Nolan. And they are awesome cats, love them. And so we are done with our pictures, but we can go to pan mode. And now we can skim back and forth. If we go back to the image mode, now we can move the image around. You get this kind of icon on the end, although I don't believe there's any way to press that button, though it looks like it should be pressable. And then we have our delete, so we can pull that down into the trash can. And then of course we have undo and redo, which is super useful as well. Cool, so cleared our board off. And now what if we want to go up on the whiteboard, you might ask? Well, you can do that. So we can turn off our desk whiteboard and then go to whiteboard by pressing this button. And then I'm not sure what you can see here, but I have a whiteboard and I'm walking towards it. I am now in front of my whiteboard and here we are. Okay, so we've now arrived in front of the whiteboard. You do need to set it up. Make sure to click and grab the bottom of the whiteboard. There'll be a thing in your pass-through menu. It's pretty easy to set up and get it in position. So now I'm here in front of the room. I can present and I can bring up my images. So there's my cats. There's some other people's cats. Those are adorable, whoever's cats those are. That's my boy Nolan again, and absolutely adorable. Look at him. So we're going to go ahead and grab that, pull him into the trash, poor boy. Although he is a little bit of a trash panda, on occasion, not always. Now we got our pen, and I actually got to say, there's a couple things I want to note here. So again, we just turn it into pen mode, and I can write really quite simply. And so it's very easy to write, it's very easy to erase. The one thing that I would like to mention though, is this is a heavy pen. I mean, if you've ever held a pen before, they're light. I mean, this is heavy. Like, it's definitely, it doesn't feel natural at first. I think you're going to build up that strength, but you know, your arms are going to definitely feel it after your first day writing on a board like this. I wouldn't recommend doing this for hours. It's a little easier at your desk, of course. And so we're going to go ahead and erase these as well. And then the next thing you'll note is you have the mute option. So we can mute our microphone very easily when we're presenting. And then again, we have our 3 bars here, which allows us to switch between which whiteboard we'd like to be on or create a brand new whiteboard. Awesome. Okay. So we're presenting, we're in this super cool space. There's one huge caveat here. You cannot change the background. I mean, it is gorgeous in here. Don't get me wrong. I love this space, but dang, would I love to change the background out. Would I love to like interact with this space a little bit more? And I think that's one of the biggest contradictions between the name and the product. It uses the word horizon, and so far horizon means a world where you can build endless possibilities, like it's creating the worlds, and this has none of that. There is no world creation here. There is no changing the background out, at least not yet. And so those features I assume are in the works, but they're focusing on probably more important things, like there's no audio in here yet. So I assume we're going to get video with audio and audio files at some point, and that probably is a higher priority than you know, building your own trees in the background. So with that said, I wouldn't expect those for a couple years as they continue developing this, and eventually I imagine it merging in more with like the Facebook horizon we know and love today. So it looks like I can actually jump over to different sections of the whiteboard. Okay, I didn't notice this before. So yeah, I can just like point and use teleport motion. As someone who is definitely a slide motion person, this is kind of weird. I wish I had the ability to slide, but it is nice to be able to move. So this is good. Cool. And now that we're done, we're going to go ahead and go back to our desk. And I actually have to walk in the real world. So again, not sure what you're seeing here, but I've just arrived back at my desk. And here we are. Another really cool feature is you can actually change your seat. So you can hop over to a seat that someone's not in. So if I wanted to sit next to someone, I could do that. Or if I want to move over here, I can do that. And that's pretty cool. One of the biggest questions I've been asked is, can other people see your computer? And they cannot. So when my screen is here, I can be looking at all the cat pictures all day while this guy is working really hard, and he'll have no idea I'm not working just as hard as him and I'm just looking at cat memes. So whether that's good or bad, up to you. But that doesn't mean you can't share your screen, and so let's demonstrate sharing screen, shall we? Since we're having issues, we're going to reload both apps. To put it mildly, there are more than a few issues with connecting your computer and your desktop and getting it hooked into Workrooms. And so if you're having issues, all I can say is persistence is what's key. And I've seen people struggle for a couple hours and finally get connected versus like 10 minutes and get connected. And it really just depends. Like, it's hard to say what the issue could be. Some people it was needing a different computer. Some people had to delete the app entirely and reinstall it on their computer. Some people were just trying to find the little icon that pops up to allow it on their computer. And so on the Mac side, don't forget to open up your system preferences if it doesn't auto open. Go to your security and privacy and make sure to go down to screen share and go ahead and turn it on. So make sure to check the box for screen recording on the Oculus Remote desktop. Otherwise, it's not able to work either. And in this case, we ended up clicking the settings gear icon, logging out of the app on our computer, closing out of the app on the computer, closing out of it on our headset, and it was a bit of work. So that's how we got this taken care of. And now we're back and connected to the computer. So we can head back over here to Workrooms. So you can see it opened up here in my browser to log in. Now, what we were talking about last was screen sharing. And so if we come over here, you can see the share screen icon. Now this passes it up to the big whiteboard. This is great if you're in presentation mode and you want to share something up here. It's great if you're working on a project and you want to get people's opinions. I've heard you're getting about 10 frames per second on the receiving side, sometimes less, sometimes more, depending on the number of people in the room. Seriously, the number of people in the room is a huge factor. It's something we don't really think about because we're used to like 2D video calls, but in these 3D environments, it takes a lot more processing power to render, and so that's going to have a huge impact on your performance. So definitely keep that in mind. I've also heard the web interface, the more people who are in here, the harder that one is to get a clear image. So that's all stuff to think about and kind of potential problems you might be running into. Again, this is a beta app. It's also free, and this is day 2, so there's going to be some hiccups. So if you're trying this out right off the bat, be prepared for that. One other awesome aspect about screen sharing is it's not just up there. So in this mode, it's super easy to view that. But say you're in a different seating layout, like the default layout. This isn't terrible, but cranking your neck for a long period of time could be really difficult. If you're not the one sharing your screen, you get an additional icon down here next to computer, which will allow you to view the shared screen locally, so you don't have to continually look in this direction. It's super fabulous, so I love that feature. We need to talk about scheduling a meeting. So when we click schedule meeting, we're going to have the generic options to create a meeting. You can determine if it repeats. You can go through all of this stuff, determine which workroom it's for, so we can change this to like the private meeting space. And then we can choose who's available to go to this meeting. And this is great, but this isn't the part we need to talk about. What we need to talk about is these spaces. We have 3 spaces for a reason. Play spaces, so if you go there, like right now, I'm here, we're playing, we're having fun. So if anybody wants to pop in, go for it. But if I'm in the private meeting space, it's an important meeting and it needs to be private. We can't have people popping in and out. If we have the professional space, it's as similar to the play space. It's open, anyone can come. We're welcoming all of our colleagues to the Vidyuu professional space, but it's understood that we're going to be working. I'm going to be editing. We're going to be writing scripts or whatever it is we're working on. It's happening in this space. We're not expecting to be distracted by cat memes, and we want to have focus. But this is where scheduling a meeting is so important, because in VR, you lose about 10 to 20% of time. You don't have all of the sensory details that are required to perceive time correctly. And this sounds absurd, but like when I had arrived at 5 in the morning in my workroom and then 6 hours went by, I had not perceived 6 hours. If anything, I'd perceived maybe 4 hours. It just, time goes by faster in VR, and distractions can be incredibly thorough when you have a lot of people. It's easy to get distracted. So that's why when you're scheduling a meeting, make sure it has an intent and a purpose, or else you might end up with what we called in college study sessions, where we more or less ended up playing video games by the end of the night. So you gotta be very careful, and that's why I highly recommend scheduling meetings with purpose. Back here on the Workroom website, we have the ability to click this 3-dot icon, turn guest access off and on, and then we get this link where we can copy the link and now share so anybody can come and check out this room. And once they're here, if they're not added using this add people button and typing in their email to add them, they won't be able to join in VR, but they will be able to video call in on this screen, which is very crystal clear. And so with that, they just hit the join workroom button, which is going to pop open a kind of like similar to Messenger. They can share their screen. Oh, hey, what's up? And so you can kind of get a preview. Look, that's funny. And so you can then hit join room, and we're going to go ahead and close out of this. Now, if you're an administrator, you will have this plus button where you can now create a new workroom. It's worth noting that everybody can use the add people button, But if you want to create a new workroom, you're going to need to be the administrator of the workplace account. And so you can name the workroom, you can invite members right off the bat. And if you come down here onto your name, you can click on settings. And from settings, you're going to have a lot of options like pairing the headset, Oculus Remote Desktop, security and login, language region, all that fun stuff. We're going to go ahead and type in our password. There we go. And now we can manage people. And so here we can see all of the people who have been added. We can interact with all of these people. We can see the invites we've sent out to them. We can click the 3-dot icon to deactivate their account, delete their account, edit their personal details, and a lot more can be done from here. We can also see workrooms. And so I can see all the workrooms people have created and decide if I want to go join these. And I'm not completely sure how this works, to be completely honest. I'm a little confused why I can see all of these, but I can. And so if I want to, I believe I can just manage these. Oh, apparently I can delete and join as admin. That is a scary feature, and I honestly don't know how that happened. So one feedback to the developers, and I think we all need to voice this, is that the intention is that this is a business account with a bunch of employees, and we get that. As users, we totally understand that's where they were coming from. But the reality is users want their own spaces. This is more like a Discord. We all want to be able to have, hey, this is my space, but that's my business's space. Like I go to work there, but I also have a place where I can hang out with my friends after work. And so similar to Discord, you have all these different channels and fields and ways that you can interact. But the way that it's currently set up, it's really just business, business, business. And so I highly recommend looking at ways to have individual users run their own account and have the business owners be able to manage their own room. And so there's you can add members to it, but not necessarily apparently I can manage all of these people's rooms. That's kind of weird. I don't quite understand why that's being enabled. It shouldn't be, in my opinion. And next we have our team settings, where I could just delete our Workrooms account. Oh, the poor people, they would hate me. I'm not going to, don't worry. But you can see there's a few options in here. It's not as fully featured as you might expect, so kind of be aware of that as you're going in. The most important thing though on this platform when you're here is the ability to add action items, add files. Anytime you add a file, we can click upload a file here, and then we can upload from our computer, grab a screenshot. I can click open, and now once this is finished uploading, I can now engage with it here inside of Workrooms. And so what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and go to the whiteboard. Here I'm at the whiteboard where apparently screen sharing is still on, so I'm going to go disable screen sharing. And then if I go over to the images, I can see the new image that I brought in. There we go. So I just click one time to bring it in. I can scale it, but I'm going to make this nice and big, and we're going to talk about the door script when Worlds is started. And so I could run through this script with people and host a little mini breakout session where we could talk about scripting. I would definitely do this in Horizon, but it's nice to know that this option is available. And so that's how we can bring images in to be able to use them immediately. So we'll go back to our desk. The last thing to mention here about adding people is when you're adding someone, they need to know that they have two options. They can join your workplace and be a part of your team, and then they have less control, or they can create their own workplace and then join your team. For those individuals, they're going to want to go to oculus.com/workrooms where they can hit the sign up button and sign up themselves. And then once they're done, they can click on the link that you send to their email by adding them. When you're joining in VR and you have to set up your desk, I highly recommend using an actual desk or a flat surface at the very least. That way you actually have a place to set your computer where you can actually draw. It just makes the experience a lot better. If you're having trouble setting up your desk, make sure your Guardian is turned on. If it's turned off, it will not work. And you can also set up your desk before going into Workrooms by going into the experimental features button under your settings. One other awesome feature with the desk is we can turn on desk pass-through. This allows me to see my entire desk. I believe it's blacked out for you in this area, but I can see my phone, my controllers. It's super awesome. So this is great if you don't have a keyboard that's compatible with their built-in keyboard selection, or if you don't have, or you want to see your mouse and whatnot. So this is super useful. I wish these were actual buttons that you could press, but they're not. So there's that too. You got to use your pinch click. The last thing I want to say about setting up your computer is just be persistent. Make sure to look for pop-up buttons, click the approve icon, try using a different browser, try using a different computer, and it truly is the hardest part of this experience, because there's unfortunately nothing we can say that's a blanket statement way to solve most problems. It's just really persistence and trying a bunch of different things. Turn it off and on again, delete the app, reinstall the app from your computer specifically, log in and out of the app. Try rebooting your headset even. I mean, just the simple things, but just it takes some time. For me, it worked first time, no problems, but not everybody's having that experience. Like Merc, it only took a few minutes, and other people, it took an hour to 2 hours. So definitely, persistence really is everything. I think if you gave up right beforehand, that would stink, but it's also, you might need to find the time to give up and wait for them to work their bugs out that are preventing some of these features from being as functional as they should be. Another frequent question we've been asked is, does it work with Linux? As of right now, no. So you have Windows and Mac as your main options. If you haven't set up your Workrooms account, Fefe has an amazing video that we're about to play. We'll see you in Horizon. Bye! Peace! On to Fefe.
Hello everyone, this is Fefe, and I'll be showing you how to install Workrooms and get everything working on your headset and on your PC. And so I'll be doing this on Windows, as you can see, and let's get started. First of all, you have to sign up. That's not difficult to do. You'll have to put in your email. Then to your email, you'll be sent an activation code right here. If you click on that, you'll see this. You can click the link, but I'll just show you. Just copy this. Just do right click and copy, and then if you go here, you can paste it here, and then it automatically, then you should be seeing join a team. You have been invited to that. Buffy buffers, blah blah blah, join. That's just for my room that I've been invited to. Just pick your password and your name, and then click continue, blah blah blah. Then you should be seeing this setting up button. Then you'll see this, pair to your Oculus Quest. And then let's move to our Quest. Okay, once we're in our headset, you should see this. And that's the code you have to put in the website. Then what we do is we put the code in, click submit. You'll see it says for me continuous Fefe, it should say your name. Continue setup. And then we're moving to our Quest and we do the rest there. Once we're in our headset, we should see this now instead of the code. Let's click get started. It will tell you to check your desk for safety. And then it should show you to this place. In here, you'll see this. This is how you join the room. If you already made a test room for yourself and you want to exit that, you click settings, account, and then click logout. But you can, if you haven't and you just see this, that's good. That's the name of the room that you should join. Once you click that, it should say joining. Now we wait. And now we have loaded. As you can see, there's some pictures of cats. This is the desk. There's gonna be people here when there are people. But yeah, this is it. That's how you join a room in the Workrooms.